Hey guys, it's Anna. Welcome to another episode of I Swear We're Not Idiots, the podcast where jazz music is king. Before we get started, this video is made for entertainment purposes only. This is our own opinions and sick humor. Today we'll be talking about the Axeman of New Orleans. I'll be talking about gruesome and maybe descriptive murders. If you're sensitive or have a weak stomach, this episode isn't for you. Viewer discretion is advised. So do you know anything about the Axeman of New Orleans?
No.
Can you guess what he did?
Do they have a lot of trees in New Orleans? Mostly swamps, right?
Well, this was back in 1918 and 1919. So everybody had axes to cut trees and for firewood and stuff.
I think the only person that I know that used their axe legitimately was
Paul Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan. So if you're known for an axe since then, it's probably not going to be a good story.
Okay, so these murders took place.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
It's not a good story.
Yeah. These murders took place between May of 1918 to October 1919. And I want you to figure out who do you think the Axeman was, because there's a lot of suspects. I want you to figure out which one he was, okay?
Did they ever figure it out in the end?
So I'm gonna leave what happened to everybody towards the end. So I'm gonna kind of like tell you like this person was arrested and not complete it until the end because I want you to guess who it could have been.
All right.
Okay. So the first one was on May 23rd, 1918. Italian immigrants Joseph and Catherine Maggio. They were hanging out with Joseph's brother Andrew. They had adjoining apartments above Joseph's grocery store. Andrew owned a barbershop down the street. Andrew called it a night when his brother pointed out how highly intoxicated he was. He's like, dude, you need to head home. So Andrew headed to his apartment, and Joseph and Catherine retired to bed. In the middle of the night, a man broke into their apartment. He made his way through the couple's bedroom to the couple's bedroom and approached the sleeping couple with a straight razor. He slit their throats and bashed their heads in with an axe. The next morning, Andrew found his brother, Joseph, who was still alive, but ended up dying shortly after Andrew found him. At the scene, they found a pile of bloody clothes that the killer was wearing, so he changed his clothes before he left the apartment and left them there. The straight razor was found in the neighbor's yard, and the axe belonged to the couple. It was found near the home. And there was also a message written in chalk. It says, Mrs. Joseph Maggio will sit up tonight just like Mrs. Tony. And so there were murders in 1911 that are similar to these ones. So they think that the murders could have been tied together.
I feel like it's a little disingenuous, though, to accept the term the Axeman killers.
The Axeman of New Orleans.
When you killed him with a straight razor. And then you just
bashed their heads in with an axe.
Yeah, but he initially used a straight razor.
I don't know which one came first.
Well, we can assume. Pretty sure the axe would have finished it pretty quick.
Yeah. You never know what he was thinking. He was crazy.
Yeah. Whoever he may be.
So this murder became the start of many murders, and the killer became known as the Axeman of New Orleans. The suspect for this murder was Andrew, Joseph's brother, because the straight razor that was used to cut the couple's throats was from Andrew's barbershop. It also raised suspicion that he did not hear any intruder or noise coming from the couple's adjoining apartment. In June 27th, Louis Louis Basumer, an Italian grocer, and his mistress, Harriet Lowe. Now, they call her a mistress, but he wasn't married, so I think that they were living together, and that's why they called her a mistress. Okay, so they lived in the back quarters of his grocery store. The store was not open the next day for the baker, and then he went to go investigate. Lewis was found with a strike to his right temple with an axe, and Harriet had an axe wound to her left ear. They were both still alive.
Ugh.
Harriet ended up being paralyzed on the left side of her face. At the scene, Lewis's axe was found in an adjacent bathroom covered in blood. So it was his own axe again. Police arrested Lewis, not the boyfriend. He was an African American male that had been employed at Lewis's grocery store. So Lewis employed Lewis. Because he had a conflicting account of his whereabouts the morning of the attack, they arrested him. And I think because he was African American. So he's another suspect.
Definitely suspicious circumstances that they arrested him.
Harriet, the mistress, began making statements that Lewis, the other person attacked, the boyfriend, the owner of the grocery store.
So Harriet is the one that just took an axe to the ear?
Yeah, and this Lewis is the one that took the access to the temple. So she...
And they're believing anything either one of them say after taking an axe to the brain?
Yes. Well, so Harriet's saying that her boyfriend was a German spy. And she ended up attacking his character.
Her boyfriend?
Yes. Lewis fell under suspicion of espionage.
Oh my God.
He was arrested but released 2 days later. So Harriet ended up having surgery on her face, but the surgery failed.
Yeah, just because you can't fix the brain.
And on her deathbed, she named her boyfriend as the attacker, and he was arrested again. So now we have Andrew as a suspect, Lewis, the employee, in jail, and Lewis, the one that was attacked, in jail.
Wait, they had both Lewises in jail?
Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to stop there and not tell you the rest of that happened until the end. So those are our 3 suspects so far.
Grief.
August 5th, Anna Schneider, a 28-year-old who was 8 months pregnant, was home alone while her husband was at work late. Anna was in bed asleep when she awoke to a dark figure standing over her. The man attacked her and bashed her over the head repeatedly, cutting open her scalp, and blood covered her face. Ed Schneider came home, which was her husband. He came home a little bit after midnight from work. He found his wife in bed. She was still alive. She remembered nothing of the attack, and she ended up giving birth to her daughter 2 days later. At the scene, nothing was really stolen besides $6 or $7. There was no forced entry, and authorities think she was attacked with a lamp. But they still classified it as one of the Axeman attacks. James Gleason, who was an ex-convict, was arrested for this attack.
For what cause?
Because he was in the area.
Oh boy.
I'm not sure exactly why. So we have Andrew, Lewis, and James.
All suspected of the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
August 10th. Joseph Romano lived with his 2 nieces, Pauline and Mary Bruno. In the middle of the night, Pauline and Mary awoke to sounds of a commotion coming from their uncle's room. The girls entered the room to see a man fleeing from the scene. The man was dark-skinned, heavy-set, and was wearing a dark suit and a slouched hat. Joseph suffered serious blows to the head that resulted in 2 open cuts. He managed to walk to the ambulance, but he ended up dying 2 days later from his injuries. At the scene, his home was ransacked, but nothing was stolen. A bloody axe was found in the backyard, and a panel on the back door was chiseled away for the intruder to gain access. No one was arrested, and the Axeman became the talk of the town, and New Orleans was in extreme chaos. An Italian detective came out and said all these murders were linked and hypothesized the man also committed the 1911 murders. I would assume that because of the first note that was left that linked the two women.
What kind of hat do you say he was wearing?
A slouched hat.
What does that mean?
I think it's the night.
Real mysterious. Like you just got it, like where your eyes are barely showing. Like this.
Google a picture of it. I'm probably gonna put a picture of it up on the thing.
You should. Because what I'm imagining right now is like, what does this even mean?
I think it's like the I don't fucking know, one of those hats.
The Italian hats?
I don't know. March 10th, 1919.
Oh.
Italian immigrant Charles. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'll just put it up on the screen.
Yeah, no offense intended.
Yeah, I'm Italian, but I don't know how to pronounce these words.
Nope.
Because I'm an idiot. Okay, Charles and his wife Rosie and his daughter Mary lived in the suburb of New Orleans. During the night, the family was attacked. The neighbor, Giordano, heard screams coming from the residence. Are you laughing at his name?
Yolando
Orlando Giordano.
It just doesn't seem real. It's like I'm John Smith.
It's like but
for Italian.
Digital Dave.
Digital Dave. Yes, Digital Dave. I forgot about that guy. Scuba Steve. R.I.P. Adam Sandler.
He's not dead.
I was just kidding.
April
Fools.
Okay.
How many people just like Adam Sandler died? No, just kidding. He's still alive. He's still funny. He's still engaged to the guy from
Kevin James.
Yeah, he's still engaged to him allegedly.
Can we continue?
Go ahead.
The neighbor, Lordando Giordano, heard screams coming from the residence and rushed over there. The family was attacked by the Axeman. Charles and Rosie both had skull fractures caused by an axe, and Mary was killed in her mother's arms from a blow to the back of the head, or blow to the back of her neck. Charles and Rosie survived. At the scene, a bloody axe was found on the back porch. Nothing was stolen, and a panel to the back door was chiseled away.
Who honestly always had an axe back then? Like,
I just
how
said,
does every household have an axe? I don't have an axe. I have a little hatchet.
But because it's 1919, how do you think they put fire? They all needed axes to chop their own firewood. Right? I think I'm right. Pretty sure I'm right.
How many people needed firewood?
They had no heat. That was their heat. Was a fireplace. When was electricity invented?
I don't know, but I feel like in New Orleans, maybe they had cut firewood.
Probably not.
In the middle of a city? I don't know. It's just suspicious that everybody had an axe. Why do so many people have an axe? Maybe he brought the axe, planted it, and they assumed it was that person's axe.
So once Rosie gained full consciousness, she claimed the neighbor, the Giordanos, him and his son Frank were the attackers. Charles denied his wife's claims. Still, the father and son were arrested, despite the fact the father was 69 years old and in poor health, and the son was 6 feet tall and over 200 pounds and could not fit through the opening that was chiseled away in the back. They were still arrested.
Wait.
Because she blamed them.
You couldn't duck to get through an opening?
Probably, like a little, like a panel was chiseled, so there's probably panels around the thing. There was probably like a small thing you had to fit through. He probably couldn't fit through like a small opening. I'm not saying the whole back door was away. It was a panel that was by the back door.
Yeah.
March 13th. The infamous Axeman letter was sent to authorities, and it was published in a newspaper. It's a long letter. Pause it so you guys can read it. I'm just going to generally sum it up. It basically said, on March 19th, he would kill 15 minutes past midnight, but would spare any occupants of any place where jazz music was playing. So that night, everyone played jazz music. Dance halls, bars, every place was packed with people afraid that they were going to get attacked.
This is like the Passover.
What?
When you put blood around your door to avoid the plague, and for Egypt.
I'm not familiar with all that.
They see the blood around the door and they pass over you. Now today they hear jazz music and like, they're legit.
Well, apparently the Axeman was fond of jazz music, but he did not commit any murders that night. But a couple days later, Steve Boca, another grocer, was attacked in the middle of the night in his home. He awoke to a dark figure standing over his bed. Steve was knocked out cold. Once he awoke, he ran outside, confused, looking for the intruder. He ended up realizing his head was cracked and he was bleeding all over the place. He ran to his neighbors and lost consciousness. At the scene, nothing was taken, but the panel to the back door was chiseled away for somebody to get in. Steve recovered from his injuries, but could not remember anything from the attack. No one was arrested for that one. You have a suspicious face on.
Steve is suspicious. Isn't this the first time that an attack happened and nobody died?
No. There was a couple of them.
Well, yeah, a couple people got axed in the head and can't remember anything. But, like, if you take an axe to the ear...
Well, so the couple, one of them took an axe to the temple, one of them took the axe to the face. She died because she had surgery, but he didn't die. He's still in jail.
That's right. There was like 5 people in jail.
The first couple, I think, died. The couple with the baby survived, but the baby died.
Isn't it crazy that so many people are in jail and the axe attacks are still happening and they're still in jail?
Like I said, I didn't finish telling you what happened with them, so you're assuming they're still in jail when all this is happening. They might only have one person in jail. Let's find out. So another attack happened on September 3rd. Sarah Lumen, she was 19 and lived alone. The neighbors frequently checked on her because she was so young and living by herself. They found Sarah lying unconscious in her bed. She appeared to have a head injury and was missing several teeth. At the scene, the intruder entered through an open window and a bloody axe was discovered in the front yard. Sarah survived but could not remember the attack. No one was arrested for that one either. So the last murder happened October 27th, 1919. Mike Pepitone and his wife were at home. Mike and his wife had separate rooms. During the night, his wife was awoken by a noise in Mike's room. She went to his door, and at the same time, an axe-wielding man was fleeing the scene. Mike was struck in the head, blood all over the room. His wife could not describe the attacker other than he was large. And that was the last attack of the Axeman.
Did Mike survive?
So, I read this hypothetical suspect. His name was Joseph Monfrey. So, I guess Mike ended up dying, and his widow moved to California. A year later, she ended up gunning a man down, Joseph Monfrey.
Oh, boy.
And they think that was because he was the axe murderer. But that is not for certain, and that was just a hypothetical suspect. There was really nothing else. I didn't want to read any more books or anything like that to figure that out, so I'm not going to count him. We have Andrew, Lewis, the employee, Lewis, the man that got attacked, James Gleason, the ex-convict, and the Giordano's father and son. Out of those guys, who do you think was the axe murderer?
James seems a little suspicious.
Okay, let's go through all the suspects.
I'm pretty sure somebody died or got brain damage in every attack except James.
Well, James...
And James was solo.
No.
Are you really want to hit yourself hard enough to do damage?
You mean Steve?
Was Steve the guy?
Yeah. James is the ex-convict that they caught because he was in the area when one of the attacks happened.
Steve. Sorry, James. I apologize.
So you think it was Steve?
Steve is not... Steve's not in a good position.
I mean, but Sarah Lumen had the same thing happen.
Yeah, but then what's... I guess that's true. If she really wanted to go get this other guy, she killed all these people and axed people to finally go and go get this one guy. Be like, look, this whole time I told you it was him, and now I did away with him. You know what? Now that I say it,
Yeah.
Sarah's not looking good. Sarah's not looking good.
Okay. Let's go through all the suspects. Andrew. He was the first victim's brother.
Mm-hmm.
He was released after investigators couldn't find any evidence that he had anything to do with it, and he was too intoxicated to even commit that crime. I know, last weekend. Lewis, the African-American employee.
Completely innocent.
No evidence to hold him, so they released him.
They should have.
Lewis, the guy that got attacked, and his wife blamed him.
Nope.
He was charged with murder and served 9 months in prison.
That is crazy.
He was acquitted after a 10-minute jury deliberation.
10 minutes.
After, what's the thing? When you peeled it.
Yeah. After 9 months.
Yeah.
Took 10 minutes to decide.
They believe,
you know what? Maybe
the lady
this
on her,
doesn't make sense.
They believe the lady on her deathbed that had a really severe head wound. James Gleason, the ex-convict.
Who did nothing.
Released due to lack of evidence.
Yeah, how could there be evidence?
So, the father and son. They were charged with murder and went to trial, and they were found guilty.
What?
The father was sentenced to life in prison. The son was sentenced to hang. So, you know how Charles and Rosie were the two people that got attacked?
Yeah.
Okay, and Rosie's the one that said they were doing it, and Charles was like, no. After this whole trial, Charles divorced Rosie. 2 years later, Rosie admitted to falsely accusing the men because she was jealous of them. And then they were released.
So did she go to jail?
I don't know, I don't think so.
She should have.
The Axeman murders still remain unsolved.
What?
What?
It's either Steve or the woman.
Or Sarah.
It's either Steve or Sarah. Sarah's looking real suspicious.
She also
But
had...
then again, maybe she's like, hey, all these killings are happening. I can use this to my advantage. Got rid of him, went out and found some random person named that Matt. Or maybe she looked it up first.
You also realized that she was found unconscious in her bed with a head injury and missing several teeth.
Yeah, that was me a couple weeks ago. Well, without the missing teeth. Thank God. Definitely had injuries, and I was unconscious.
I kind of like your view on this. You totally go for the people that don't remember shit. It was them. What if Steve and Sarah were working together?
It's possible.
But as of today, it's unsolved.
No, yeah, it will never be solved because their motto was just arrest everybody until it all falls apart, and then we'll be like, yeah, by then we all forgot about it. They're not killing anymore, so apparently whoever was doing it either
died or stopped.
Or
Moved away. What if they moved away? What if there's axe murder somewhere that nobody connected them?
Or they changed their tactics and was like, instead of using this axe, I'm going to strangle you. Now I'm the BTK.
The years don't line up for BTK was in 2000s.
Unless it's an ancestor, it was like, hey son, this is what I did in New Orleans. Take my legacy and go.
He had a daughter.
Oh. Wait, who?
Wait, BTK.
Yeah, but his dad.
Oh. That would be interesting.
Those line up, right?
I don't know. Now I gotta go look at all the years. Do I need to connect past murderers to current murders?
Dun, 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 dun.